Alright, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, how the heck are you doing today? I hope I find everyone well, hope everyone's happy, healthy, living life to the fullest as always. Today, I kind of want to just talk about my own stupidity for a moment. And the fact that this week, right, I've been just kind of paper trading, forward testing, and just trying to get comfortable in the current market conditions that we're in. And I know some people have found, the current market conditions to be great, to be phenomenal, and are able to, capitalize off these things, but for me, I don't know, I haven't been able to. And, that's okay. I mean, I feel like identifying market conditions that, you can't trade in or things like that, everybody has their thing, and for me, I don't know, I haven't been able to find any sort of actual benefit out of trading during these times like most people have. These are times that I'd imagine most people dream of being able to trade, or just dream of trading. This is perfect. There's lots of volatility. There are some pretty big moves that, happen. But for me, I don't know. I can't. At least for me, my strategy just doesn't seem to work the best with this time period. And, that's okay. That's alright. But that's not exactly what I want to talk about. What I want to really talk about is just the fact of sticking to your rules and trusting yourself, trusting your gut to not make stupid mistakes, right? For me, my big stupid mistake today was trading. I was trading today. I mean, there's no way around it. I shouldn't have even touched, I was just trying to get through on, my take profit trade or Eval, and just kind of, pass that and be able to, do some sort of review on take profit trader. It's something that I've been wanting to do for a while, just switch up firms and everything. And today I ended up trading, and the first trade that I took, I was out just working on my bike, changing my oil and stuff, and popped onto the charts for a minute, to look around, see if I could find an entry, and I ended up finding an entry, and ended up taking the trade. Got about halfway to TP, and just decided to pull from there and just call it a day, because I already told myself I wasn't going to trade today, and I just wasn't really feeling it to begin with. And anyways, price ended up coming back down to my original entry point, and I was like, alright, cool, I pulled out just in time. That was great, phenomenal trade. Markets didn't hurt me none because I didn't lose nothing. And so I put my phone back in my pocket and just continued on, doing my thing. But yeah, I put my phone back in my pocket and just continued on doing my thing. And about an hour later, I was sitting there just chilling on the couch, bored, and decided, you know what, maybe I can trade today. I'll give it a shot. I'll trade a little more. I'll take, maybe 1-2 more trades, see if I can catch something. And that was not the smartest idea. It was pretty stupid because, internally in my gut, I kind of had that feeling of, you're making a mistake. Don't do this. Don't trade. Don't do it. Don't, there's no need to, you're already in profits for the day. Markets are closed tomorrow, and I think that kind of just influenced my decision to continue trading today. From that point forward, things just kind of went really south. I had found another entry into a trade and set up my limit orders, like, okay, if price hits here, then that gives me my entry, and I'll go ahead and take this. And price came down and was literally like millimeters from touching my limit order and tapping me in. And price ended up just leaving me from that point. It just started to go up. I was going for a long at the time, and it just started going up. And I made a really rookie mistake. In that moment, I let FOMO get to me, you know? And I'm sure many of you have been at this point where, you know, you see your trade idea panning out and you just get FOMO. You don't want to miss out on that opportunity to, you know, make profits, especially make extra profits, you know, get me closer to passing. And at that point, that should have been a point where I just said, you know, whatever, I missed my opportunity. It is what it is. You know, there's really nothing I can do about it. But that's not what I did. What I ended up doing was just entering the trade anyways, because I was like, well, it's panning out the way that I thought. Let me just go ahead and enter, you know, at this point and put my stop here, you know, just below the previous candle that I was entering off of, thinking that price was just going to keep going in my direction. And I mean, obviously that's not, you know, as many of you probably know, that's not the way that trading works. Price doesn't just keep going in that direction. It can, but it, you know, it's, especially during these times, like, it's not just going to keep going in that direction without coming back a little bit and whatnot. And anyways, price ended up pulling back the second I entered into the trade and stopped me out. And I was like, well, shit, there goes my profits for the day, you know? Like, that kind of sucks. I don't even know why I did that. So I ended up, you know, just waiting a little bit longer and deciding, well, here's another entry idea. And so I ended up waiting a little longer and thought, well, hey, here's another entry idea. Let me go ahead and hop into this trade. And the same thing happened again. Millimeters for my limit order, and price ended up starting to leave me. And you would think at this point that I've learned my lesson, you know, from the first time that it happened, which was the trade prior to this trade. You know, and I was already down like 500. You know, my rules even state, don't, if you're down 500, even if it's like, you know, you were just up 500 or something, if I'm down 500, that's my personal daily loss limit. That is me, and, you know, my rules for evals and stuff. If I am at minus 500, even if I was already in profit, so if it puts me back to zero or whatever, no more trades. That's it. You know, you just call it a break-even day and move on to the next. And I ended up deciding to enter this other trade again, doing the exact same thing. It missed my limit order just barely, and I thought, well, let me just hop back in. Maybe it won't do the same thing to me again. And, you know, it ended up doing what it just did before. Candle just wicks down, stops me out, and then just keeps going. And, you know, it ended up putting me down further, down to actually minus 500. I was no longer at a break-even day. I was just at a negative 500 day. I was just at a fucking red day, you know? And at that point, I was just upset. I was mad. I was so mad. And I was like, are you kidding me? You know, like, I shouldn't be making these silly little mistakes. You know, I've been trading, I haven't been trading for, you know, years or something like that. I've only been trading for 9 months, but I still know better. Personally, for me, I know better, and I know that I know better, and just shouldn't have done any of that. And from that point, I decided to go back out and was like, you know what, I'll just make a video for today, which the footage you're seeing probably is from today. I went and washed my bike and, you know, was gonna make this video, and that whole time I just couldn't make a video. I couldn't do it. I couldn't concentrate. I couldn't focus on what I wanted to talk about, just because of the fact that I was so mad at myself from the original thing, from the original, you know, 3 trades that I took to start the day, with 2 of those being a loss, and, you know, now being in the red, can't trade tomorrow. It was just like, man, I can't even, like, I'm just gonna have to go through this, you know, 3-day weekend just sitting there thinking about the fact that I shouldn't have done this and that I shouldn't have entered any of these trades. And from that point, I ended up, finishing up washing my bike, decided to come back home, was like, I just, I can't make a video. I can't. I can't talk about what I was originally wanting to talk about, which that video I'm just going to save for another day, for a better day. But, yeah, I ended up getting home, ate some food, felt a little better, was still just kind of, upset, and was just, again, sitting back on the couch, watching some YouTube, just chilling, doing my thing. And I remember seeing a alert go off on my phone from TradingView, of course, showing that NQ had moved to a point that was a point of interest for me today. And you would think that by this point I would have completely just learned my lesson and would have just stopped. But that's the thing, is I didn't. And that's why I call myself an idiot, and I have made some absolute rookie mistakes today in my trading. I'm very disappointed in myself. It's one of those things where, like, again, as I've said earlier, is like I know better. I know so much better. I shouldn't be making these silly mistakes, especially, if I want to reach the goals that I want to reach this year. I can't be making mistakes like that. But, anyways, I ended up just opening the charts and was like, okay, I'm just not going to trade. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to take a trade. And then I ended up taking another trade. I took a fourth trade. And, man, it especially because, like, I was already down 1,000 at this point from the other two previous trades that just went against me, that I entered out of Fomo. I honestly, I wouldn't even call them trades. It was just me entering the market. There was no actual rhyme or reason for me entering other than seeing price leave me for my original idea and just deciding to enter at some random point in the market, which is really stupid. It's dumb. It's not something that, it's not something that I should be doing. But yeah, I enter this trade, and at this point I just switched to MNQ because I was like, well, maybe I can at least just decrease my loss just a little bit, maybe I can at least gain like $300-400 back, not be down so much. And by that point, it was just silly for me to sit here and enter in another trade, especially because at that time, price was coming back down. We were breaking, previous higher lows and going into lower lows, and just going into a downtrend. And I was still trying to go for a long, out of this point of interest for me. And what ended up happening? Well, price ended up just falling. I was trying to catch a falling dagger at that point. And ended up losing another like $200 on top of that. So now I'm down, $1,200 because Take Profit Trader doesn't have any sort of like daily loss limit where it just completely locks you out, kind of like Top Step does, which is fine. That's another reason why I want to move to Take Profit Trader, is just like I want to really test myself on my discipline side, because that's something that I need to build rather than letting, a computer kind of tell me, hey, enough's enough. I want to be able to tell myself enough is enough. And today just wasn't one of those days where I was able to tell myself enough is enough. And I don't know, I don't have anything for that. I made a rookie mistake. I made a very rookie mistake. And I let my emotions get the better of me. I let my feelings and my thoughts, get the better of me today. My mentality did not hold up. The markets won today. And, that's okay. Days are like that. But I feel like my big problem was just not trusting in my strat and trusting in myself and knowing better, and not just remaining disciplined, to myself. I was disrespecting myself by sitting here entering into these trades that I had no business entering into, breaking all sorts of rules today. And I have no one to blame, of course, but myself. The markets didn't hurt me. I hurt me. I am the one who hurt myself today by not just saying enough is enough, taking my little win and moving on. I decided to rush myself into something that I shouldn't have been rushing to begin with. I didn't end up listening to myself. I mentioned before in a lot of my early videos that time is the teller of all. Time is what's gonna get you somewhere. And I didn't heed my own advice in just letting time pan things out the way that they should. I tried to force something that wasn't there to begin with, I'm mainly making this video just to, of course, keep transparency with everyone. Not everything's just sunshine and rainbows over here, as I've mentioned many a times, I'm just like the rest of you guys. I'm still learning this stuff. I'm still trying to figure things out, I'm still trying to build myself into the trader that I want to be, into the person that I want to be. And sometimes it's a struggle bus. I make this video in hopes that it just can help someone. Maybe it brings some sort of comfort to someone. Hearing somebody else talk about their losses. For me personally, I do enjoy watching people's videos that talk about their losses. I don't always watch trading content on YouTube, but whenever I do, sometimes I like to watch people's videos talking about their losses. And it's nothing to do with, I like knowing that I'm not the only loser or anything like that. It's just simply, it gives me insight into what I should try to manage with myself, and what I should try to do differently to try and be a better trader, be better to myself, and not disrespect myself so much by just not listening to myself. And in talking about this now, honestly, I feel like talking about it helps me not be as mad, because I know that I can come back next week and pick things back up, And if I don't next week, then it is what it is. Things happen. Losses happen. It's a part of the game. Rough days like this, it's a part of the game. I'm sure there are people out there, who've been trading for 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 years, maybe even longer, who just have a day where they just disrespect themselves. They disrespect the rules and they don't listen to themselves. My main message with this video is pay attention to yourself and pay attention to your feelings sometimes. Not all feelings in trading are bad. Not all emotions in trading are bad. For me, I can get kind of a gut feeling whenever I'm entering something that I know I shouldn't be entering. And every time that I've taken a loss, I've had that same exact feeling. It's a feeling that I journal about quite often. Whenever I take a loss, it's usually due to me, getting that gut feeling of, I shouldn't be entering into this. This doesn't give me that aha moment, It doesn't give me that trust. It doesn't give me that feeling like, oh yeah, I feel confident in this. And that's a feeling that I should listen to, whenever I do have my winners, I have a gut feeling of, I feel confident in this. I feel secure in this. This matches perfectly to my edge, to my rules, to everything. So I should take this trade. I think that my biggest issue today, again, was just disrespecting myself. It's got nothing to do with the market conditions. It's got nothing to do with news or anything like that. It's got nothing to do with things that are out of my control. All of these things and all these problems are within my control, and they're things that I can most definitely manage and, be able to handle. But today I just chose not to. Today I just let myself become undisciplined and just do things just cause I want to force things, just cause I want to rush things, because I want to be able to get to, you know, a payout faster, because I want to be able to get to passing an eval faster. And it's stupid. It's stupid to think that I really let myself, you know, do that. I really let myself disrespect myself. It's weird saying that, but it's true. But thankfully, I didn't, you know, let it go too far and completely blow my account, you know. I didn't completely blow my eval. I still have opportunity. I still have room. I still have the ability to, you know, come in next week and be better than I was this week. And I think that's my big message for this video, is if you feel like you need to rush, or like you feel like you need to just get one step closer, you need to get just a couple more dollars just to get a step closer, you need to, you know, keep going and just, you know, do it all in one go. I feel like I'm here to tell you that you don't need to do that, and all that's going to lead you to is, all rushing is going to lead you to is failure. It's going to lead you to losing money. It's going to lead you to blowing accounts. It's going to lead you to all that. That's all it's going to do. It's not good. It's not happy. It's not healthy. And, you know, I feel like if I want to be, you know, a great trader, then I need to get things like that in check, and I need to be able to recognize when I need to stop, and I need to be able to recognize, you know, when it's just time to call it quits, man. When it's time to tell it, I need to recognize that I need to tell myself no sometimes. But yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at this week. I hope everyone else has had a much better week than I have. This week was something. I spent the majority of the week just paper trading, and as I mentioned, forward testing my strategy in live markets and just seeing how it handles. And I mean, I was pretty confident throughout the week, you know, especially on like my paper trading. I was winning. I was taking some dubs, and that kind of also just played into the factor of trading today. And today would have been a great day. I would have been right 3 out of the 4 times that I took a trade today, but I missed my entry on 2 of them and let my Fomo take over and let that make me become a loser for the day, simply because I couldn't tell myself no, you know. It sucks, but I'm not gonna let it eat at me. I'm still gonna, you know, enjoy my weekend. We got Easter on Sunday. You know, I don't really have family, so I'm probably just gonna be kind of chilling, doing my thing. I don't really do much for holidays. It's not really a big thing for me. But you know, I'll probably just be chilling, hanging out, and just doing some back testing and trying to study and, you know, learn more. Try and take the time that I can and, you know, grow myself, especially after today. I want to go back and just review the trades that I did take. Even though I really know why I lost these trades, I still want to go back and review them. You know, where could I have been better? Why did price, you know, come to a point and then just barely miss my entry and then leave? Things like that. You know, I want to go back and understand that, because there was no news during these times that I was trading too. So there really was nothing to blame other than myself. You know, there's nothing that I can blame there. But yeah, I hope all of you can find some sort of value out of this, and you know, I hope all of you have had a great week. I hope everyone has a phenomenal weekend. Happy Easter to everyone. I know it's a little early, but I'm probably not going to be uploading anything until later next week. So, might as well get that out of the way. So happy early Easter to those of you who may celebrate it or not. I hope everyone goes out, enjoys themselves, spends some time with your family, with your girlfriend, with your friends, whoever you got in your life. Go spend some time with them. Live your life a little bit. If you had a bad week, go live your life a little bit. Don't stress it. Don't worry about it. Don't let it eat at you the whole time. All right. Have a good weekend. And, just be ready on Monday to come back better than ever and stronger than ever and push on through and keep going like we do. I feel like that's a big part of being a trader, is learning to be resilient, learning to learn from your mistakes, and pushing through at the end of the day. But anywho, I'll quit rambling you guys' ears off. I hope you all have a great weekend, and I will see all of you in the next one. Peace.